I don't think anything in life prepares you for the moment your own child turns a door lock against you. That sharp metallic click cold, final still vibrates inside my ribs. One minute, my husband and I were following our son down the basement steps, convinced there was a burst pipe he needed help with. The next, the door slammed, and the lock slid into place on the other side. I heard her footsteps first, my daughter-in-law, quick, sharp, almost satisfied, then his, slower, heavier, but no less cruel. My whole body froze. My mind refused to understand what my ears already knew. The child I raised, the boy whose scraped knees I once kissed, had shut me away like an inconvenience. Before panic could take over, my husband rested one steady hand on my arm and whispered, "Quiet. They still don't know what's behind that wall." His voice wasn't shaking, mine would have been. But his tone, calm, prepared, somehow scared me even more than the betrayal itself. Motherhood is strange like that. We remember things in flashes that make no sense later. His first tooth, his first lie. The day he married her, the woman who held his arm too tightly, smiled a little too widely, and looked at me not with warmth, but calculation. I ignored my instincts. Because that's what we do, isn't it? We hope that maybe love softens the sharp corners in people, but in our home, love slowly became entitlement. Entitlement became resentment. And resentment, when fed long enough, turns itself into a plan. I noticed the shift before anyone else. The hurried phone calls that ended the moment I walked into the room. Paperwork being moved around. Drawers left half open with documents missing. My husband's medications arriving in different bottles ordered by them, not us. Soft, urgent whispers that dissolved the moment my footsteps echoed down the hallway. Something had begun, and we weren't meant to know what. Then one afternoon, I heard her laughing through the kitchen door. I'll never forget her words. She thinks the house is hers. Once they're out, everything becomes ours. Not gone, not dead, just out. That word clung to the inside of my mind like a toxin. The final confirmation came when I found a legal envelope in my son's hand. He didn't even try to hide it. My husband's name had been slashed out in ink. A new power of attorney was waiting for my son's signature, already printed on the line. "We're helping you," he said. "Dad's getting old, so are you. We're making things easier. By stripping us of control? By taking our home while our hearts were still beating? I didn't yell, didn't cry. I simply watched him walk away, and my heart finally caught up to what my instincts had known all along. My son wasn't acting alone. And the person pulling the strings wasn't just his wife. It was something far uglier: greed. The kind that grows slowly, quietly, until it replaces everything good inside someone. That night, I told everything to my husband. Every whisper, every suspicion, every sign I'd ignored. He didn't react the way I expected. He didn't look shocked or betrayed. He looked ready. "I knew this day might come," he said softly. "I just prayed it wouldn't be because of him." Then he said nothing else. But there was something in his eyes I hadn't seen in years. Purpose. And suddenly, I realized something unbelievable. My husband had been preparing for something long before I pieced it together. So we waited, carefully, quietly. We let them think the two of us were slipping into fragility. We let them take over the finances, the paperwork. We let them believe the house was already halfway theirs. Because when people become confident in their wrongdoing, their guard drops, and that's when truth slips in. The moment their car finally left the driveway that night and silence draped itself across the house, my husband moved. He knelt beside the far basement wall, hands shaking not with fear but with familiarity. His fingers pressed around the edges of a single uneven brick, one I never even noticed despite living here for decades. He pushed, and it slid back. Behind it was a steel lockbox, dusty, old, untouched for years. Inside were original property documents, our real, updated will bank accounts solely under our names, and a small recording device, an old-fashioned one with weeks of saved audio. Every secret conversation, every plot, every word spoken against us. He had been recording them, preparing evidence, waiting for the moment they overplayed their hand. For 39 years, he said quietly, I've prepared for the possibility someone would try to take everything we built. I just never thought it would be our own child, my heart broke in places I didn't know existed. But my resolve hardened at the same time. While our children thought they had trapped us, we slipped out through a maintenance hatch they had no idea existed. By morning, our lawyer had everything. By noon, the authorities had the evidence, and by evening, the trap our children thought they set for us had already begun to collapse under their feet. That night, when they returned laughing, rehearsed, confident, they stopped dead in their tracks. Because we were already sitting in the living room, in their seats, waiting. They walked into the living room that evening the same way they had walked through our lives for the past 2 years, confident, rehearsed, and convinced we were too weak to challenge them. My daughter-in-law stopped first, her smile shattering the moment she saw us. My son froze behind her, confusion flickering across his face, then dawning fear. We didn't speak, not yet. Silence can be more powerful than shouting, and right then, it was enough. My husband placed the small recorder on the coffee table and pressed play. Their own voices spilled out of the tiny speaker, every whisper, every plan to take the house, every laugh about pushing us aside, every step of the plan they thought was flawless. My daughter-in-law's eyes widened. She looked toward the front door, calculating an escape. My son didn't move. He was too busy trying to find a story that might save him. Then he whispered, his voice trembling, Where did you get this?" I met his eyes I once trusted and answered quietly, "From behind the wall you locked us in with." For a moment, no one breathed. Then the distant wail of sirens began to fill the street. She bolted for the back door, abandoning him without hesitation. Maybe that's who she always was, loyal only to herself. My son didn't run, but he didn't look at us either. He stared at the floor as officers stepped inside, reading out rights he never imagined would apply to him. As they handcuffed him, he finally lifted his head. "Mom, Dad, please just listen." But there was nothing left to hear. His choices had spoken for him. The officers led him out first, then went searching for her. The door closed behind them, and the house fell into a silence I didn't recognize. Not heavy, not hostile, just empty. My husband exhaled, long and tired, like he'd been holding his breath for months. Maybe he had. We sat there for a long moment, the two of us absorbing the truth. We hadn't lost a home. We hadn't lost our independence. But we had lost something far more painful, the version of our son we thought still existed somewhere beneath the greed. "He's not the boy we raised," my husband said quietly. "No," I whispered back. "But he's the man he chose to become." The next days passed in a blur of statements, lawyers, and decisions we never imagined making about our own child. The officers eventually found her hiding at a cousin's house. She tried to deny everything, then tried to blame him, then finally blamed us, as if our refusal to hand over our lives made us the villains, but the evidence was ironclad. Their own words had sealed their fate. We attended every meeting, every court date, every hearing. Not out of revenge by then. Revenge felt like a hollow thing, but because truth mattered, because our lives mattered. And for once, we weren't willing to be pushed aside quietly. My son avoided looking at us most days. When he did, there was never anger, only a deep, aching shame that he didn't know how to carry. She, however, glared at us as if we had stolen something from her. Maybe we had. We had taken back our freedom. Months later, when everything was finally settled and the dust had stopped choking us, my husband and I walked through our home, room by room. The house felt different, not haunted, not damaged, just ours again. In the basement, I paused by the hidden brick, the one that had saved us, the one I had never noticed for decades. I pressed my hand over it, feeling its cool surface. Funny how sometimes the things that protect us are right in front of us, unseen until we need them. My husband stood beside me and said, "We didn't lose a son. We uncovered the truth about him." I wanted to argue. I wanted to believe there was still something left to salvage. But the truth was simple. Love doesn't excuse betrayal, and betrayal doesn't erase love. They can coexist in the same heart, tearing it in opposite directions. We didn't celebrate our victory. We didn't gloat. We simply reclaimed what had been ours all along: our home, our dignity, our peace. One evening, months after everything had ended, I found myself standing at the basement door. That door, once slammed shut against us, now sat open, quiet, harmless. I touched the wood, remembering the fear, the confusion, the moment everything changed. And yet, I wasn't angry anymore. I was grateful. Grateful for the truth. Grateful we had each other. Grateful my husband had been wise enough to prepare for a storm we never saw coming. As I turned off the basement lights and began to close the door, I whispered into the darkness, more to myself than to anyone else, "You found out who took your place, and it wasn't another man." It was the truth. When the door clicked shut, it didn't sound like betrayal anymore. It sounded like closure. And that was the end of it. For more gripping stories like this, subscribe to Day She Remember.